public space travel, and so on and so on.
We are seeing that at play here. And now, like, we can debate if it's becoming more and more authoritarian. I think it's easy for us as Americans to say, like, well, it's not authoritarian just yet, you know, but, like, if you, in any other country, like Brazil, for example, or whatever, authoritarianism is still alive and present and relevant. And, you know, and this is maybe for another podcast episode, but to talk about what kind of, what are the kind of systems of government that we would want to see, right? Not authoritarian, not hierarchical, you know, legitimately democratic, not representative democracy. We don't want something where we elect one person who we hope votes always in our interest for X amount of years, such amount of time.
And how are they going to realistically vote for every single person that they represent?
Yeah, exactly. That question
in their interest.
That majority rules thing, where the minority is then disenfranchised, and so something with consensus, something with community, something more legitimate in the sense of democracy or democratization. Because I think we do make an assumption here that democracy is in its final form, right? What we see today is the society we will have.
I mean, you can even see that with at least, you know, coming from America, coming from that perspective,
yes,
of even just the idea of capitalism as an economic system is the final economic system. It is how things are supposed to be.
Yes,
and that's entirely born out of just really coming out of the Cold War.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like an event happens, and then, you know, in this case, someone was a quote unquote winner.
Yeah.
And then that just needs to keep going because that's what seemingly,
ideologically,
yeah, is what quote unquote won.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though it's entirely contextual, it's entirely historical.
Absolutely, right. And that's the thing is that makes an assumption that, like, that's it. So Francis Fukuyama, the author who wrote The End of History, that's his argument that basically social democracy, basically what we have today, maybe Sweden, that's the final stage of, like, human politics and society and all that. He later on said, okay, no, wait, that's not true. But people still hold on to that idea. And you're right, it's definitely derived from the Cold War. I would actually argue that when it comes to the Cold War, it was American and Soviet state capitalism.
Yeah.
And it was like, which flavor do you want? You want red or do you want blue, right? And then so the blue one won. And then so now, like, therefore, this is the winner. And then it gets hyper-intensified via neoliberalism, Martin Friedman and the Chicago schoolboys. What I mean by that is just like, let's just privatize everything. Let's not make anything public, you know, and then free market capitalism reigns, and it's global. The markets have spread to the far-flung corners of the earth. And now it's amazing because, you know, we're Americans. We're living in this first world country, and we have all this technology. We have all these luxuries. We have so much access to jobs and money and education, blah, blah, blah. Why would you complain? But little do we know, in, like, you know, hundreds of miles away, if not thousands, there are people who are working for cents a day in order to, you know, mine and rape the earth of the resources so that we can make the luxuries and goods that we have. But it's so, like, we're so divorced by them, even though there's this facade that we're so connected by social media and all the little things, you know, like fucking Facebook and Twitter and all that, that it's like, you don't even, like, teach shit in school. Like, you know, you gotta go out there and look for it. But then when you go on the internet and look for it, you have, like, algorithms from YouTube that is just, like, alt-right, like, fucking Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, Benny Boy bullshit. And it's like, this is a fucking shitty ass. We live in a dystopia, but become so desensitized to it that we imagine it as normal.
I'm always thinking about, like, when you see dystopia in, like, movies and things like that, like, everything is so stylized that it's so easy to go, like, that's the bad guy, that's the bad thing. But,
right.
like, and, like, it takes, like, even now, like, it still takes me some mental work to recognize that in the day-to-day as it is now, because it doesn't look anything as dystopian, you know, as you think it should look. Like, you think, like, oh, I know how the bad guy is gonna look when they show up, but they'll just look like you. That's the shitty part.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, though, that to clarify, it is kind of easy to point out Nazis because they have, like, that one haircut, the, like, comb over slick haircut, and they're wearing a business suit, like, you know.
they're the ultimate baddie of recent history, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, Nazis.
Yes. No, it's not.
Space travel, and so on and so on.